always been more than just an occupation for rural communities. It is a way of life, a rhythm of existence tied to the cycles of nature, the rising of the sun, and the changing of the seasons. Among the many fruits that mark the agricultural calendar of Southeast Asia, the longan, called en an in Vietnamese, holds a special place. Small, round, and golden brown in its thin shell, the longan carries a sweetness that is delicate yet rich, often compared to honey. To many, it is not simply a fruit, but a symbol of summer, family, and the tireless labor of those who work the orchards. The task of harvesting longan, though it may appear simple from a distance, is in truth a craft that requires patience, precision, strength, and above all, a deep connection to the land. The longan tree is a sight both majestic and familiar to those who grow up in regions where the fruit thrives. With its strong trunk, spreading branches, and dense green leaves, the tree can reach heights of 10 to 12 meters when fully mature. In late spring, small flowers appear, almost unnoticed at first, but gradually filling the orchard with a subtle fragrance. By the middle of summer, these blossoms have transformed into clusters of fruit. The longans hang heavily in bunches, their skin turning from green to a light brown, signaling that the season of harvest has arrived. For farmers, the harvest season is the most important and the most demanding time of the year. Preparation begins weeks before the fruit is ready to be picked. Nets, ladders, baskets, and clippers must all be checked and prepared. Families often come together during this period, for harvesting is not a task that can be accomplished alone. In many villages, neighbors may also lend a hand, reinforcing the communal spirit that agriculture has fostered for centuries. The orchard becomes a place of both labor and laughter, where the sweat of work is lightened by conversation, songs, and the shared anticipation of reward. Harvesting itself is a careful process. The longan fruit, though protected by its thin shell, is surprisingly delicate. A rough hand or a careless cut can cause the flesh to bruise or the juice to leak, reducing its market value. Farmers therefore use small scissors or knives to snip entire clusters from the branches, rather than pulling the fruit individually. Skilled harvesters often climb the trees, balancing on branches or standing on ladders to reach the highest clusters. It is a task that demands agility, strength, and courage, for the trees can be tall and the summer sun unrelenting. Each cut is made with attention, ensuring that the fruit is removed cleanly while leaving the branch healthy for the next season's growth. Once the clusters are gathered, they are carefully placed into baskets lined with soft leaves or cloth to prevent damage. From there, the fruit must be sorted. Not all longans are equal. Some are larger, sweeter, and more attractive, while others may be small or blemished. Sorting is a meticulous job, often done by women in the family, who sit together under the shade, their hands moving quickly and skillfully as they separate the best fruits for sale. The air is filled with the scent of ripe longan and the rhythmic sound of fruit being dropped into baskets. After sorting comes packaging. In earlier times, the fruit was sold in simple bamboo baskets at the local market. Today, with the rise of modern trade and export, the process has become more sophisticated. Fruits are weighed, cleaned, and packed into cardboard boxes or plastic crates, ready for transport to distant cities or even overseas markets. For many farming families, this step represents the bridge between their humble orchards and the wider world. To see their longans sold in supermarkets or exported abroad is a source of pride, a recognition of their hard work. Yet beyond the economic value, the harvest season carries deep cultural meaning. It is a time when families work side by side, when children learn from their elders not only how to pick fruit, but also how to respect nature's gifts. For many, memories of childhood are bound to the image of climbing trees, tasting the first sweet longan of the season, or helping carry baskets to the market at dawn. The harvest is not just labor, it is tradition, identity, and heritage. Story of longan harvesting cannot be told without first appreciating the tree itself. The longan tree belongs to the soapberry family, Sapindaceae, the same family as lychee and rambutan. But unlike its cousins, the longan has a distinctive personality of its own, one that farmers come to know intimately through years of care and observation. A mature longan tree stands tall, with a strong, textured trunk that often carries the scars of Ajin weather. Its branches extend outward in graceful arches, covered in leaves that are long, glossy, and dark green. To stand under such a tree in summer is to find both shelter from the burning sun and the promise of sweetness hanging above. When the wind stirs the branches, the sound is soft, almost whisper-like, as if the tree itself is speaking to the farmer who has nurtured it from seedling to maturity. The growth cycle of longan is both predictable and mysterious. Farmers know that the trees demand a very particular climate, warm, humid, with a balance of sunlight and rainfall. Too much rain at the wrong time can spoil the blossoms. Too little water can stunt the growth of the fruit. Each year, the farmer watches the cycle unfold, flowering in spring, fruit setting in early summer, and ripening in mid to late summer. The fruit begins as small green pearls, slowly swelling as the weeks pass. Their color changes gradually from pale green to yellow-brown, signaling that harvest is near. The season of harvest is eagerly anticipated, but also slightly feared. It is the reward for months of labor, pruning, watering, fertilizing, protecting the trees from pests. Yet it is also the time when all can be lost. A sudden storm, a swarm of insects, or unexpected drought can reduce an orchard's yield overnight. For this reason, the harvest season is marked by both excitement and nervousness. Farmers often rise before dawn to walk among their trees, checking the fruit, testing its firmness, and tasting samples to judge the perfect time for picking. In Vietnam and other longan growing regions, the harvest usually begins in July and continues into September. This period transforms the landscape. Villages come alive with the activity of farming families preparing for the intense work ahead. Roads leading to orchards grow busy with bicycles, motorbikes, and carts carrying baskets, ladders, ropes, and other tools. In the air hangs the heavy, sweet fragrance of ripening fruit, mingling with the earthy smell of soil and leaves warmed by the sun. Preparation is a crucial stage. Farmers clean their tools, sharpening scissors, mending baskets, tightening the ropes on ladders. The orchards themselves are tidied, with undergrowth cleared to allow easy movement and prevent accidents during picking. In some places, makeshift tents are set up to provide shade and resting areas for workers. Large tarpaulins are spread out beneath trees, ready to catch any fruit that might fall during harvesting. Harvesting longan is rarely done alone. The work requires many hands, and so it becomes a family affair. Grandparents, parents, children, and sometimes neighbors all join in. Each person has a role, whether it is climbing trees to cut the fruit, carrying baskets, sorting the harvest, or preparing food for the workers. This collective effort strengthens bonds and creates memories that last long after the fruit has been eaten or sold. When the season begins, the orchard is filled with energy. Men and younger workers often take on the more physically demanding task of climbing the trees. With ropes tied securely or using tall bamboo ladders, they ascend into the branches, moving carefully to avoid damaging the tree or the clusters of fruit. Their hands, armed with scissors or small knives, work with practiced precision, cutting clusters cleanly and lowering them to those waiting below. Each cut is deliberate, for a careless movement can break a branch or cause fruit to scatter to the ground. Below, others gather the clusters into large baskets. The fruit is heavy, not only in weight, but in value. Each basket represents hours of labor, months of cultivation, and the livelihood of a family. The baskets are then carried to a shaded area where the sorting begins. This stage is equally important, for the market demands high quality. Large, sweet, and unblemished fruits are set aside for selling at premium prices, while smaller or damaged fruits may be kept for home consumption, dried for preservation, or sold at lower rates. The atmosphere during harvest is unlike any other time of year. The orchard echoes with voices calling instructions, laughter from children running between trees, the thud of baskets being set down, and the snip-snip of scissors cutting fruit. The air is hot and humid, but spirits remain high. There is a sense of urgency, for the fruit must be gathered at just the right time, yet also a sense of celebration, for this is the moment the year's labor bears fruit, literally and figuratively. Even the smallest details of the harvest carry significance. The way the fruit is handled, the care taken to preserve its natural bloom, the teamwork required to move heavy baskets, all reflect not just agricultural skill, but a philosophy of respect. Respect for nature, respect for labor, and respect for the fruit itself. It is this combination of physical work and cultural meaning that makes the longans harvest such a profound experience. Farmers must adapt, balancing traditional methods with modern techniques, ensuring that their fruit meets global expectations while maintaining the authenticity that makes it unique. Still, beneath the layers of economics and commerce lies a deeper truth. Harvesting longan teaches values that transcend money. It teaches patience, for the tree does not bear fruit overnight, but only after seasons of care. It teaches resilience, for farmers must endure heat, rain, and uncertainty. It teaches cooperation, because no harvest can be completed alone. And it teaches gratitude, reminding people that the sweetness they enjoy is the gift of both human labor and nature's generosity. There is also a profound humility in the act of harvesting. Farmers know that no matter how hard they work, ultimate control lies with the earth and the sky. They can prune, fertilize, and protect, but a storm can undo everything in an instant. This humility fosters respect for the land, for the cycle of life, and for the fragile balance that sustains human existence. Perhaps this is why the stories told during harvest time are not only about yields and prices, but also about resilience, hope, and the quiet pride of those who live close to the soil. As one watches the end of a harvest day, with the sun sinking behind the orchard and the baskets lined up, ready to be sold or stored, a sense of fulfillment fills the air. Tired faces glow with both exhaustion and satisfaction. The children, still sticky from eating too many fruits, run around with carefree joy. The elders smile, remembering that they too once climbed trees, as the younger generation does now. In that moment, one sees clearly that the harvest is more than a transaction. It is a ritual of life itself. To write about longan harvesting is therefore to write about more than farming. It is to write about families and communities, about the intertwining of work and love, of struggle and celebration. It is to capture the essence of a way of life, where every fruit holds within it the labor of hands, the warmth of the sun, the nourishment of the soil, and the endurance of hope. When one tastes a ripe longan, one tastes not only sweetness, but also the story of countless days of labor under the open sky. And in that sweetness lies a truth, that human life, like the fruit itself, is fragile, fleeting, but profoundly meaningful when shared. The cycle will begin again. After the last fruit has been sold, after the last laughter has echoed in the orchard, the trees will rest and prepare for another year. Farmers will prune and nurture them, waiting for the blossoms of spring, for the green pearls of early summer, and finally for the golden harvest once more. The work is endless, but so is the reward, for in each season lies renewal, and in each renewal the promise of life. The longan harvest, then, is not just the end of a cycle, but also the beginning of another, a reminder that the bond between people and the earth is unbroken, everlasting, and essential. Longan harvesting is not only a story of agriculture, sweat, and survival, but also a reflection of culture and identity. In many villages, the fruit is inseparable from the memory of festivals and gatherings. When the harvest season arrives, families often share their best fruits with relatives, friends, or neighbors. As a gesture of goodwill, the longan is placed on ancestral altars, offered during ceremonies, and enjoyed at family meals where its sweetness carries a meaning far beyond taste. It becomes a token of gratitude to the land and to ancestors, a symbol of prosperity and unity. The act of sharing longan is a reminder that abundance is not only measured in coins, but also in relationships and kindness. Culturally, the longan has woven itself into stories and songs. Children growing up in orchards remember the excitement of climbing trees to sneak the first fruits of the season, their laughter echoing in the branches. Poets have compared its translucent flesh to the clarity of truth or the purity of love. For elders, the taste recalls summers of long ago, when life was simpler and the rhythm of the seasons dictated the pace of existence. Thus, the harvest is not merely labor, It is memory, nostalgia, and continuity. Economically, the significance of longan is undeniable. For many farming families, it represents the main source of income for the year. The weeks of harvest determine how comfortably or how tightly a family will live until the next season. In regions famous for longan, such as Hung Yen in Vietnam, the fruit has become not only a livelihood, but also a brand, a source of regional pride that attracts traders and tourists alike. Local economies flourish during the harvest season. Transport services, packaging businesses, and market vendors all benefit from the movement of fruit from orchard to consumer. In some areas, festivals are organized to celebrate the longan, drawing visitors who come to taste the fruit at its freshest and witness the energy of the harvest firsthand. Beyond the local scale, longan also plays a role in international trade. In recent decades, it has become an export commodity, with fresh fruit shipped abroad and dried longan used in traditional medicines, teas, and desserts in many cultures. This global reach connects small orchards to distant markets, turning the labor of a farmer into a product that travels across oceans. Yet with this opportunity comes challenge, stricter standards, competition from other countries, and fluctuating demands.